anything bad about his age, but no, he's got a lot of things to be able to tell us and explain to us, and what's been going on in the region here. And I'm really excited to hear a bunch of these stories, much less like where he came from and what he's doing and everything else. He's a singer and songwriter. The name is Darrin Wentz, and we're definitely waiting to get a hold of him. My name is Wade the Wiz Stahlberger, or Earl Stallenfacher to some of you guys out there. I'll be your host tonight for Uptown Tonight, and basically what this podcast is about celebrating the area's entertainers out there, and we just like getting to know everyone's stories. Now, this has been my thing for a long, long time, and it wasn't until I actually watched the Vulgar video from Pantera way back in the late 80s, maybe it was early 90s, 89. But old Dimebag was on there talking about how everyone was cool, and everyone has a story, and that just really resonated with me. So I've always loved just hearing what everyone had to say out there, and basically for us to be able to basically encapsulate that here and have it on YouTube about everyone, at least in the area, that people can go out, get to know, get to see, and learn where they came from, why they came from there, and just get inspired, hopefully, to get out there and actually do some more stuff with the entertainment groups out there. So today we have Mr. Darrin. Now, I've never met you before, so how have you been?
I've been good. It's been a weird year as a songwriter and as a guitar player and as a musician. But it's been tough. I've watched a lot of musicians around me change the way they do things one more time.
Change the way they do things. So with that being said, is like I know everyone's got stuck with the COVID thing and just getting shut down and all that. So maybe you can explain to us a little bit more about like what differences have you seen lately that maybe has been way different from the past?
I think the biggest change I've seen over the last year is people have moved away from performing with bands and groups. And I think a lot of venues have moved away from booking bands and groups and have gone to booking solo musicians a little bit more, or maybe duos, just because it's easier to deal with and they can concentrate on a smaller listening crowd.
So basically, they're moving towards this acoustic.
Yeah, there's been a big push. It's always great to have a resurgent in acoustic music from time to time.
Oh, of course. I know our man Cito, he's definitely going to be out there with his acoustic stuff this weekend. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. So you are the boy from Crary, North Dakota.
Yeah.
So how was that? Were you born there?
I was born in Devil's Lake, yeah. I was raised on a farm between Crary and Doyen and Southam, three little villages out right east of Devil's Lake. And so yeah, that's where I came from, and I have a press blurb that talks a little bit about that. But yes, I am just the same farm kid from Crary, North Dakota. No matter what happens to your music, and that's really alluding to no matter what happens to you as a musician, your music, most people stay pretty true to their music and to their roots.
Go back to their roots. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So while you're out there, when did you move away from there?
I came to Fargo in 1985. I came down here to go to college.
It was a good year.
Yeah. You were born then, I would imagine.
No.
Okay. All right. 1985, I came to NDSU, and I've been here ever since. I lived for 1 year down in Kansas City, but most of the time I've lived right here in the valley.
Oh, really? So what'd you do at NDSU then?
I was in communications and agriculture at NDSU.
Oh, so that leads us to your radio?
I do work in agriculture and communications to this day. I've dabbled in a couple different things. But I work with an agricultural radio station now.
Okay, so do you have your own radio show on there?
I don't do live radio. I'm an account executive. I work with different companies to bring their products to our ag listeners.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So that's my gig.
So, hey, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. Everyone needs that out there. But let's see. So you went down to Kansas City. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I lived in Kansas City, right north of Kansas City, a little town called St. Joseph. I lived there for a year, worked with a professional student group, worked as a professional for a student organization that I was in college, my fraternity. And I came back to North Dakota after working a year down there. And, I've been here ever since.
So your fraternity brought you down?
My fraternity brought me to it got me to move out of state for a short period of time. Yeah.
Interesting. Very nice.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you made a lot of experiences down there, and
I got to travel. That was my first real traveling gig. Where
out of North Dakota?
Well, not just out of North Dakota, but I traveled across the country.
Oh.
Spent a lot of time in Texas, spent a lot of time in Louisiana, a little time out in California.
Wow.
A little on the East Coast, working with different student groups. And I got to see a lot of America that way, and got to kind of get that first, it was kind of my first sales gig, really working in that vein.
Still, that'd just be a great experience to have.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So how did all the music stuff start up then? Was that back in the farm days?
It was back on the farm. I started taking piano lessons when I was, I don't know, 6, 7 years old.
That was a good mother. Father.
Exactly right. Mom wanted me to play an instrument, and my sister was and is an excellent musician to this day. I had an older brother that was who was 10 years older than me, so we weren't real close, but he was a fantastic musician, and eventually fronted several bands, and so I kind of got the bug from them, and I grew up listening to country music, and country music in the 70s and the 80s is in many ways very different than country music today, but in a lot of ways is the same. The 70s and the 80s, they were worried about the pop influence of pop music ruining country music, and we're still having that conversation today.
Oh, yeah, that's definite.
Yeah.
Definite. So you grew up kind of in a musical family then.
A little bit,
Was your parents musical besides making you do the piano?
Dad was very musical. Mom wasn't. Mom never... we always teased that Mom couldn't carry a note in a bucket, but Dad was very musical, and they encouraged it. I played piano until I was old enough to say, I don't want to play piano anymore.
Same.
And I wasn't a great piano student. I was okay. The music theory that I know to this day, I learned from piano lessons.
Oh, really?
But I was probably 15 or 16 when I bought a guitar. And I found out that I could play guitar anytime I wanted, anywhere I wanted, instead of being tied to the piano. And I think that was the thing that really... that opened up my eyes to more music.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing as a drummer, too, that I always get jealous about the guitar players, because they can just pull it out whenever they want to, play as hard as they want, and if we pull out that practice pad or anything, everyone just freaks out.
Yeah, you can play guitar at a campfire. You can play guitar.
Yep, exactly. No one wants to hear the bucket drumming.
Yep.
Unfortunately. So let's see. So your brothers and sisters, they play guitar as well, or
my oldest brother was a guitar player. Yep, he was, and a very good guitar player. He was a real honky tonk kind of guy.
Okay.
Really influenced by the 50s and 60s music that he had grown up with.
And he's the one who played or fronted some of these
bands. Yeah, he
bands.
fronted a few different bands and was very good.
Do you remember the names of those bands? By the way?
His last band. Well, he was with a lot of bands. I think the band that got the most attention was when he was stationed in Hawaii with the Army. He was with a band called Darrin Wentz and the Freeland Express.
Okay.
And they had an opportunity at that time and got to open for George Jones.
Woo!
Just happened right now.
Well, let's try it again.
And then it's on. Okay, now it's on.
Are we back on? Okay, and we're back. But I'd like Darrin to talk a little more about this singer-songwriter. Is it kind of a competition or a showcase?
No, the songwriter night that we had done at the Radisson, and I've been honored to host a few different singer-songwriter nights. That one down at the Radisson I hosted for a short time, and I'd also hosted one out at Bar 9. And all of those were showcases. They weren't competitions at all.
Okay.
Trust me, there are plenty of music competitions if you want to get into a music competition anymore. But we were honored to bring one or two songwriters each month up, let them play a full set. A lot of times at an open mic, people are happy to get to an open mic and play new stuff. And that's great, but you don't get to get a real connection with a crowd because you're maybe playing one or two or three songs.
Yeah, so I would think.
So the songwriter nights that I've been involved with, I was very fortunate to have people that said, this is how we want to do this. We want to get the artist a feature to be able to play a set, you know.
So how long would a set go then?
The
for
set
them?
was usually about an hour long.
An hour?
Yeah.
Nice. Of
So
original
you do-
music?
Yeah, you can do. Well, we didn't always feature original music. We tried to encourage songwriters, and I still try to encourage songwriters to play us your original stuff because that's what we want to hear.
Exactly.
But we also encourage them to play the stuff that inspired this. So if you're a big fan of Chris Christopherson, if you're a big fan of Steve Goodman, if you're a big fan of John Prine, yeah, do some of those too. We want to hear those. We want to hear what made you the musician you are. If you want to play Kevin Welsh, if you want to play La Love It, yeah, I want to hear that too.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, these mostly just acoustic type duos
Yeah,
or singles?
most are singles or duos, you know.
Any bands at all?
Yeah, occasionally, yeah.
Occasionally? Okay.
Occasionally, but most of the time I've found the venues that I've been hosting at,
Yep.
They liked to feature the songwriters they would feature wouldn't be a collaborative effort of a band. Or if it was, well, okay, we like the idea of having your band in, but maybe just bring the songwriters, give us a stripped down version of this because we don't have the capability of reproducing 14 tracks. You know, it would be tough to bring some bands in. If Pink Floyd came to you today and said, hey, can I play your songwriter night? It might be tough to replicate that with 2 or 3 channels down at Bar 9 or
That would still be fun to try, though.
Wouldn't it, though?
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. That'd be a draw.
Right. So we try to focus on the primary songwriter. If it's a collaborative effort, yeah, then of course bring who you need. And, you can present your music any way you want at most of those places, too. We really tried to say, if you're a guitar player, bring your guitar. If you're a keyboardist, bring your keys. If you're a fiddle player, bring your fiddle. Most people are writing with one of the mediums of either guitar or keys, so that was pretty common.
Nice. Nice. So what normally is like the genre of music that you hear then during these?
I would say for the stuff that I host, it's traditional singer-songwriter stuff.
Okay.
So kind goes of anywhere from folk music to country music to pop music to roots rock.
Okay, so no avant-garde anything? People
not a
pouring
lot.
paint on themselves?
No,
Well.
no. I've had a couple people come in and do some things, whip out a ukulele and say they're going to do this. And sometimes that can go over in a crowd.
Okay.
And sometimes it's really tough for them to pull off more of an arty piece that way. People do want to hear stuff they're familiar with. I will say that. And that's something that a lot of young songwriters and musicians take for granted. They assume that everybody wants to hear their new groundbreaking stuff, and that's not always the case.
No, it's not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's the world we live in. And that's how it is. So I want to bring you back to brothers. Now, when you're back with your brother, did he teach you how to play the guitar at all? Or?
A little bit. I kind of learned a few things from him. Like I said, he was quite a bit older than me. He was 10 years older than me, so by the time he was out of the house, I was just,
Just getting started?
Yeah, just getting started in music, period. But yeah, I would see the stuff he would play, and certainly the music that my family listened to influenced the music that I listened to. So yeah, he, like I said, he was a real honky tonker, and then eventually a real southern rocker, that kind of stuff. And I love both of those veins of music.
It sounds so much like Stevie Ray Vaughan's story. Just
Yeah. Or Stonewall Jackson, or Merle Haggard, or Charlie Pride.
Exactly.
That's the kind of stuff that he listened to and really excelled at. My sister was a music teacher, and she has the best musical education of any of us.
Okay.
And is obviously really good at what she did.
Another
for years
music
and years.
teacher out there.
Yep, another music teacher. We should salute every one of them.
That's right. It's not that simple.
Yep.
So with that, just like,
Mhm.
where did you learn how to play guitar? Did you learn it on your own, or did you get some lessons?
Yeah, a few lessons from him, a few lessons from a few other people, but really learning how to play guitar for me, I am rather self-taught, and so a lot of people
Absolutely
will,
fine.
yeah, absolutely. There are people that will say, "Well, I would like to learn how to play guitar like you," and I kind of take the same position that Charlie Daniels did regarding his fiddle. Please don't watch me do this because I'm not doing any of it right. you know, Charlie Daniels would tell people that I don't hold the bow right, I don't hold the fiddle right, I don't do this right. I've found something that works for me, and my guitar playing is I kind of do mostly finger style. It's a mix between a flail and a maybe kind of a Travis roll, maybe a Piedmont blues roll.
Okay.
So I do a lot of finger picking. I don't use a pick anymore. I just don't. And people cannot believe that. I play a steel string guitar without a pick, but I
Yeah.
do. So yeah, I do. I do a hybrid, and yes, people have said, "Well, can you teach me how to do that?" And I'm not the person to teach guitar lessons. I can tell you that. But I've had, like anybody else that has done this over a period of time, you eventually, even if you have bad habits, that eventually becomes your style.
Yep.
And if I have a definitive or a recognizable style, then I'm happy about it. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. Learning by ear takes a lot longer than actually taking the time to learn by a class. So go to class.
Go to class. That's
Yep.
the truth. That is the truth. At least learning by ear. So would you just pick up like a record and just try to figure out what they're playing on there, or?
Yeah, I kind of did.
Okay.
As a farm kid, I spent hours and hours in a tractor with radio on.
Oh.
And
so here we go.
that was my introduction to music, was 10, 11 hours a day listening to country radio over and over and over, year after year. And you find, I do remember one of the first albums that I really tried to, or one of the first artists that I really wanted to emulate was some of Willie Nelson's stuff. When I bought an album of his, I was probably 16 then too. Willie Nelson's Greatest Hits and Some That Will Be. And I tried to learn all those great little jazz licks that he puts in throughout his stuff. And turns out Willie Nelson is a pretty amazing guitar player, and it's tough for a kid to learn. But there was simple formula for country music back then in the 80s. And yeah, I could replicate some of that with what I was learning. So about the time I got out of high school, I started discovering people like John Prine, Steve Goodman, the singer-songwriters, Loudon Wainwright. And I discovered those guys, and they were just one guy on a stage with a guitar. And I was amazed at the power of that.
Yes.
And when I got to college then, I started discovering blues, which was getting really popular at the time, and Southern rock, which was introduced to me by some of my college buddies. And that was kind of on its way out, but really pervasive in country music. But I also found a bar in town here that featured those solo acts.
Oh, what bar was that?
That was the old side street. Before it was a side street, it was a bar called Downtowners at the Townhouse Motor Inn was the hotel.
Those you remember the Downtowners? I actually do not. I don't.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
was
think
before
that
it was
one.
Mosquito Landing. Before it was Side Street, it was.
I knew Mosquito Landing.
Yeah, it was the Downtowners at the Townhouse, and everybody just referred to it as the Townhouse Bar. And they featured solo artists like that, Steve Anderson, Donnie Vosen, Bob Poole, guys that would stand up with one guitar, and they played the pop music of the day. They played country music. They played classic rock. They played singer-songwriter. They played contemporary hit music, and with just a guitar. And that blew me away, and I went, okay, you can do this, I guess.
And they drew in just the crowds, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, there was, at that time, you could still go out and see a band play 3 or 4 nights in one bar.
That's what I wanted to get to next with you, since you've had this experience through that time. So I've heard a lot of things about the 80s and the 70s and how like Fargo was this huge hub of just these extraordinary bands that can literally, they talked about, they could blow away anything out of Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know how much you've had to witness any of that, but have you? And
Yes.
if you did, like, where did you see these? And just, can you just talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I started in music because that's when I started playing guitar. Was probably I started playing out, I should say, and writing my own stuff. Probably 88, 89, about the time I was 20, 21 years old.
Okay.
But that era of bar club musicians was kind of winding down and starting to get into the singer-songwriter thing for a very short period of time before we got into the American Idol.
Oh, yeah.
Which is still around with us. But
Yes.
yeah, in the 70s and 80s, you could go out. Maybe not in the 70s. I wasn't around in the 70s, but in the 80s, yes, you could go out on a Tuesday night and see the first night of a band. Maybe you're seeing, Nielsen White, or maybe you're seeing Salt Creek, or maybe you're seeing any of these bands that are just fantastic regional touring bands. And they would play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Now, this is the stuff that Dan Fuqua was talking about, and then by a little extent, Jim was talking about, Jim Jolsrud, about being out there 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
Which, the only place I've ever seen that lately was at the Rocking Horse in Minot. They still try to pull that off.
Well, they haven't cleaned the ashtrays at the Rocking Horse since the 80s either, so I'm not surprised. That's kind of that's kind of the same place. Yes, you could do that. You could see a band, and I've talked to some of those musicians that I've gotten to know from that era, and they go, "We don't want to do that again. We like playing one night and being in and gone." But some of those guys did. They wanted to. They loved it because you set up once.
Yep.
You played for 3, 4, 5 nights, whatever the case may be.
That's what I would think.
Tear down and go to your next thing. The bad thing is now you're stuck in Fargo. If you're a touring act from Nebraska or Iowa and you tour into Fargo for 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, you're here. You're not going home, So you don't get to play a gig, go home, play a gig, go home, play a gig, go home. You're on the road, and that's the way it was.
And that's true, too.
Yeah, but it was great. You could go out on a Wednesday night, see a fabulous band, whether it was a rock band over at Cactus Jack's or whether it was a country band at Club Dallas, which is right around the corner here.
Club Dallas?
Oh, yeah, there was a country bar right over here in the old hotel.
Oh, was there?
Oh, it was
I didn't know
It
that.
was an
I've always known
incredible
it as
country
Courtney's
band.
Comedy Club, yep.
That was the location. And when I got to town, it was a country bar called Club Dallas. And you could see the back behind the Barn Boys there. You could see all those bands. It was fantastic. But you could go on a Wednesday night, find this band, and go, hey, I got stuff to do, but I can come back tomorrow night and listen for a while. I can come back the next night and listen for a while. I can come back Saturday night. You could, in theory, take a different girl to the bar 4 nights in a row and dance with her, dance with a different girl every night of the week if you wanted to the same band.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was
that one of the things? Is that just going to see a band for a little bit and moving on to the next venue to see a band for a little bit?
Yeah, you could follow a band.
So
you could definitely say, oh man, these guys are really good. You guys need to come out to them. And you could see the crowds grow if a band was, and if they were hot and they were firing on all 8, yeah. By the end of the week, the place was packed.
Okay, so like the bar hopping type thing.
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of finding out where the specials are nowadays.
Instead of running out and seeing,
a band.
Yeah, a band, or running out and seeing 7 bands in one night, which is really common anymore. People will go out and see 3 different acts in a night to try to catch everything because music is on Fridays or Saturday nights, Back then, you could see a band on Tuesday, see a different band Wednesday, then say a different band on Thursday and say, you know what, of these 3 bands, I really want to see these people on Saturday night. Go back and see them again. A lot of fun.
It gives you a chance to go back. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a whole different time. I wish I would have lived through there just to experience that. So it's always good hearing about that. Mm-hmm. But right now, I got to tease this question, and I know it's a throwaway question.
Okay.
But I don't want you to answer yet. I know a lot of people out there, if they're listening for this, are actually thinking about this. Relation to Carson Wentz, and we're going to hold you there and out there this weekend.
Hey, how you all doing?
We're going to the shows thing here. Hey, everyone, how y'all doing? So, all right. So what we got going on in town here is we got the jazz at the Delta Urban.
We are downtown today.
Oh, downtown. My bad. So, the VFW has Sidewinder, and the Fargo Brewing and O'Kelly's has Michael Pink on Friday and Saturday, I think, right?
Yep. Friday at the Brewing Company,
Yep.
Saturday at O'Kelly's.
Oh, and then you had to put me in there, didn't you, Wade?
Of course I did.
Okay. Well, the Hidden Gem is at that Slammers Bar this weekend, so if you guys aren't doing nothing, come out there and say hi to me.
You got to hang out at Slammers.
Yeah. And then downtown we got the Three Lions Pub. We got R&R. That's Rick and Roman. Yep. And then Dempsey's. We got the Gina Powers Band. That's Topher and Wombat and them. And we got the Side Street going with JB Layton. That's gonna be a good show there. That's my silver ticket right there. So we got the Silver Spike Saloon in Dilworth. Rick Adams is out there on the 24th, and then.
Then again, it's Slammers.
And then again, it's like a double header. I don't know what's going on here, Wade.
I was trying to find something at Rick's or Specs, but I could not find anything. So I don't know if they're not having bands this weekend or not. So
okay.
I just had to fill your spot again there, Cito. So you're welcome.
Yeah, because my acoustic show is going all 90s now. So Windbreak.
Are we jumping to the Uptown? Where's the out of town today?
Where is it's I don't know. I don't see it there. I had it, didn't I? Yeah, we did both. So the Windbreak, we got Jacked Up, Dunk FM, Stuck in the Middle, and then the Sanctuary Event Center has the Fargo Comedy Fest, Minneapolis' best.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. The Tax Center has the Front Fenders, 25th
anniversary event.
Yep.
Of the Front Fenders?
Yeah.
I thought they'd been around longer, though. I was a kid at a street dance when I saw them.
You're not that old.
I am. They used to do the whole costume changes, like every song's like they would change to Elvis, and then they'd be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis," and then the guy would come out with the Elvis suit. They used to do that when I was a kid. The Shooting Star Tripwire is out there on Friday and Saturday. That's a first time, I think. And
I think the out of town's up there.
There it is.
There we go.
The out of town at the original. We have October Road out there. The Laughing Sun Brewery in Bismarck and Mandam. We have, what was it again? Overeducated. The Biggie. Stage Stop Saloon, Bismarck Mandam. We have Nerve Impulse. The Sandbar 2 is our band. Uptown's going to be out there.
Detroit Lakes.
Yep, getting music started again. And then the Southtown Poorhouse in Grand Forks, 32 Below will be out there doing the thing. So that's the Uptown report from Cito. So later.
So excellent. All right, brings us back to the throwaway question of the day.
Yes.
Carson Wentz, any relation?
He's my son.
He's your son?
No,
I didn't think so.
I tell everybody, when he signed with Philadelphia, everybody, to be honest with you, when he was still with Bison, everybody was saying, "Are you related to Carson?" And I do have.
He was phenomenal with the Bison, yes.
He's phenomenal, yes. Definitely.
Still, yes.
I have a question for you, Darrin.
Uh-oh, question.
From the Really Big Shoe TV.
Yes.
Could you ask Darrin whether he prefers Luis or Barbara Mandrell?
Oh, Louise or Barbara Mandrell. That's my good buddy out west. And buddy of yours, Mike.
Oh,
and,
is that Mikey out there?
Yeah, it's Mikey out
there.
there.
How you doing, Mikey?
And I was just telling Mikey, I was playing one night in a bar here in Fargo, and Louise Mandrell's band was playing in town. And that was a night in those days I played that solo stage 3 nights in a row with 2 shows on a Friday night.
Nice.
And sure enough, Louise Mandrell is in town playing a show for something or other. And her band came in and sat down at the bar and drank. And whenever professional musicians walk in, if you're a 22-year-old amateur, you can spot them right away, And I watched them, and they watched me, and I played for them. But Louise Mandrell never came into the bar, unfortunately. But yeah, I was telling him, definitely, Louise Mandrell was cuter than Barbara by far. Old days. There you go. That's your old country connection for the day. But yeah, Carson Wentz is not related.
No relation.
No relation. I got a lot of Wentz relatives out in Bismarck, but unfortunately not related. But yeah, people would ask me all the time, "Are you related to Carson?" And I would always tell them I'm their son. He's my son. And they would all go, really?
Exactly how I went.
Exactly how you went. They do the math real quick and they go, yeah, you could have it. And I say, there's absolutely nothing about me that says that my son turned out to be a 6'6" redheaded professional athlete. So no.
Yeah, who was a gem of a person too.
Yep, he is.
So, all right. So what's happening now with you then? I know I got you gave me your CD here.
Yes.
Can we hold that up there? She's Darrin Wentz. I'm trying to read it backwards.
When you were young. Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about. When you were young.
Yeah, I did that 3 or 4
6
years
nights
ago.
a week.
Yeah, I did that 3 or 4 years ago. I went down to Nashville and recorded that with my friends at Bull Eagle Studios, and Brooks West produced it, along with Jonathan Jared Rice, and I was really happy with that. I will tell you, I made a CD the exact week everybody decided they were not going to buy CDs anymore. So everything is digital format now. If you do want a copy of the CD, I can tell you, you can get it pretty much on any digital format, any digital source. So go download it. Yes, I did that a few years ago. It was a great experience. I'm glad I did it. I had some great pickers on there. Guys like Derek Pell, who was is probably one of my favorite fiddle players in Nashville, for crying out loud. Frank Carter Rishi played guitar on there. He's done a lot of work with Miranda Lambert. So yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I'm glad I did it.
Excellent. So this is all done down in Nashville then?
Yeah, I did that down in Nashville.
Oh, okay. If I missed that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I found out that if you want to make a great record, you can do it in Moorhead. You can do it in Fargo. You can do it in Dickinson. You can do it in Devil's Lake. You can make a great record anywhere now. That is one thing that technology has given us. You can make a great record anywhere. But finding the musicians that can do it right now, that's a lot tougher in Moorhead than it is in Nashville. If you want to find a guitar player that plays guitar this way, all you have to do is ask in Nashville, and you can find a guitar player to do it. If you want to find a bagpipe player that is prolific playing in Cajun-style bagpipe, if that exists, trust me, you've got 3 of them in Nashville that will sign up and say, yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. So it's a lot easier to source the parts that you can't do yourself in Nashville.
Well, that's cool. So you said you got that done in a week?
I did. Yeah, I did that.
1 week and got the whole album recorded?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for 12 tracks, but we wound up doing 10. We kind of run out of time and said, you know what, let's stay with these 10. I didn't want to do an EP. I really didn't want to do an EP. I wanted to do a full album, and I wanted to try to hit on as many different styles of music that I can pull off in one shot. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. There's some tearjerkers on there. There's My Tongue Is Firmly in My Cheek in a couple songs in there. There's a song about a porn star on there, and there's a beautiful song about old people, and there's songs about girlfriends I dated, and songs about North Dakota. So yeah, I try to hit as many different things as you can. I've seen a mistake I think too many young songwriters make is they write one song and they write it 12 times, and they put it on an album and they put it out.
That is
and
entirely true.
They write 12 love songs in a row, and that's it. Well, I tell people, write a song about your new little dog. Write a song about your car. Write a song about something else. And so I tried to feature different
matters.
Music. Yeah. Yeah. So I was really happy I did it. I don't know that I would produce CDs again. I may just do digital next time.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure physical media is kind of tough to push.
Yeah, physical copies now are just.
But they're so nice to have to sit out there and everyone can see it. It's something you can touch.
It's an actual product, and there's when I get a CD, one of the first things I do is open it up and read the stories.
Exactly.
So that's I do that. See who played on the album, and read the stories.
So I'll definitely be doing that after everything's done
there you
tonight.
Go.
So.
Yeah.
That is true. So where are you playing next then? Or do you have any dates lined up? Or?
Yeah, the second I'm playing over at Acoustic Fest
at
Bar 9. I'm about mid-bill somewhere, late in the afternoon, believe I'm on the east stage. They'll have 2 stages going over there. One
Okay.
on the east, they'll have a stage on the east side in their east room and a stage on the west side, and you can go back and forth between the two, and artists will be playing constantly. So that's kind of fun.
So
And
is
they're-
that this weekend or next weekend?
the following weekend, right?
Okay, good. So I didn't want to miss that one.
Yeah, the second. There'll be like 30 acts at this thing, and everybody's getting a short set, maybe a 20-minute set or so.
Ooh, gonna roll you right in and out.
So yeah, we'll get in and out pretty quickly. And then on I believe it's the 19th of June, I think I'm down at Richwood Winery in Detroit Lakes. I'll be playing
Detroit
there in
Lakes.
the evening. So yeah, Richwood, right north of Detroit Lakes, I should say. Those people have been very nice. I played there the last couple of years. I'm back there again this year, and I think Gordy Christensen is playing there that day as well. I think he's on. He has a set or a show before me, and then I have the later show that night.
Well, there we go. Very
So yeah,
good.
it should be a lot of fun.
Very good. So where can you find this again?
You can find that at cdbaby.com. You can, of course, go to Amazon. You can stream the tracks pretty much any digital source, whether it's Spotify or YouTube, anywhere you stream music. Just search for Darrin Wentz, When You Were Young.
And I'll make sure I have the links up on here as soon as we are done here. So
Yeah.
It was good talking with you today there, Darrin.
You bet.
So, man, definitely need to hear more of your stories about the 80s and 90s, and that's just because I'm just kind of a history buff type thing.
Yeah.
And plus knowing what's actually been happening in the scene before I got started in it.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Thank you much, Darrin.
You
Any
bet.
last words, or we have Cito, any last words, or do we have any last questions on the live chat? We are nothing. We are good to go. So, all right, for Uptown Tonight, we will see you next time.